Tonight, when the lights go out, your brain will begin telling ancient stories. Not with words, with fear. A shadow becomes a face. A sound becomes footsteps. An empty hallway suddenly feels occupied. You know nothing is there. And yet, your heart beats faster. Your breathing changes. You look twice before turning away. Why? Because darkness is far older than humanity itself. Long before cities existed, darkness meant something very different. It meant uncertainty. It meant danger. And sometimes it meant death. More than 300,000 years ago, your ancestors slept beneath open skies. They had no doors, no locks, no electricity, only fire. Beyond the edge of the flames was a world they could not control. Predators waited in the darkness. Large cats hunted silently across ancient grasslands. Snakes hid beneath stones and branches. Strangers could appear without warning. At night, human beings lost their greatest survival tool, their eyes. Humans have remarkable vision during the day, but compared to many nocturnal animals, we are almost blind at night. A cat sees the darkness differently than you do. An owl hunts effortlessly beneath the moon. Your ancestors could do neither. For them, darkness was never empty. It was filled with possibilities. And the most dangerous possibility was always the one they could not see. Natural selection rewards survivors. Those who became more cautious at night lived longer. Those who ignored strange sounds were less likely to pass on their genes. Fear became useful. Fear became inherited. Your fear of the dark is not a flaw. It is a survival strategy millions of years in the making. Even now, your brain follows ancient instructions. Listen carefully the next time you walk through a dark room. You will notice something strange. Your senses become sharper. You become quieter. You move differently. You pay attention to things you would completely ignore during daylight. This happens automatically. You do not choose it. Your brain chooses it for you. Deep inside your skull sits a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. It acts like an ancient alarm system. Its primary job is surprisingly simple: keep you alive. The amygdala does not wait patiently for perfect information. It makes rapid decisions. Fast decisions save lives. Imagine hearing movement outside your shelter 10,000 years ago. Was it the wind? Or was it something hunting you? Waiting for certainty could be fatal. Your brain learned that making mistakes is acceptable if those mistakes increase survival. Scientists sometimes describe this as the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector would rather annoy you 100 times than fail once during a real fire. Your brain behaves the same way. It prefers false alarms over dangerous silence. That shadow beside your bedroom door? Your brain investigates first and asks questions later. Was that sound simply the house settling, or something moving toward you? The ancient parts of your brain do not particularly care if they occasionally embarrass you. They care that you survive. But if darkness is so frightening, why do some people enjoy it? Why do we willingly watch horror films late at night? Why do haunted houses attract millions of visitors every year? The answer reveals something unexpected about being human. Fear itself can become pleasurable. When your brain realizes you are safe, it begins releasing chemicals associated with excitement and reward. The monster is fictional. The danger is controlled. And suddenly, fear becomes entertainment. You are experiencing two ancient systems working together. One system whispers, "Run." The other whispers, "You're perfectly safe." And somewhere between those two voices, human curiosity emerges. Darkness frightens us, but it also fascinates us. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors looked into the darkness and imagined spirits, monsters, and gods. Every civilization filled the night with stories. Some spoke of creatures waiting beneath moonlight. Others feared demons hiding beyond their fires. Darkness became the perfect canvas for human imagination, because when we cannot see clearly, the brain begins filling the empty spaces itself, and sometimes it creates things far more frightening than reality. There's another reason darkness feels so unsettling. Your brain hates unanswered questions. Psychologists call this ambiguity intolerance. Human beings are remarkably uncomfortable with uncertainty. We want patterns, we want explanations, and above all, we want control. Darkness quietly removes all three. During the day, your brain receives enormous amounts of visual information every second. It constantly predicts what will happen next. That chair remains a chair. That tree remains a tree. That face remains familiar. At night, those predictions begin to fail. A jacket hanging on a door suddenly resembles a stranger. A harmless shadow appears to move across the wall. Your brain must make a choice. Ignore the possibility of danger, or prepare for it. Evolution has already made that decision for you. It chooses caution. In 1944, psychologists Fritz Heider and Marianne Simmel conducted a remarkably simple experiment. They showed people moving geometric shapes on a screen, nothing more than triangles and circles, and yet people immediately began inventing stories. They described fear, anger, friendship, and conflict between shapes that possess no emotions whatsoever. The human brain is a storytelling machine. It creates meaning from incomplete information. Now imagine removing most of that information entirely. Welcome to darkness. Suddenly your imagination begins working overtime. That unexplained sound receives a story. That movement in the corner of your eye receives a story. Even silence receives one. Darkness is frightening because your brain refuses to leave empty spaces empty, and sometimes it becomes too creative for its own good. Have you ever noticed that childhood fears often return at night? Children fear monsters beneath their beds. Adults fear footsteps in empty homes. The details change. The mechanism remains exactly the same. We never truly outgrow our fear of the unknown. We simply give it more sophisticated names. The dark also changes our sense of time. A few minutes can feel much longer when you're afraid. Researchers have found that fear alters how we perceive time itself. Your attention narrows. Your senses sharpen, and moments seem to stretch endlessly. This too is useful for survival. When danger approaches, slowing your perception of time gives your brain additional opportunities to react. Fear changes not only what you feel, it changes what you experience. And yet, humanity has spent thousands of years fighting against darkness. We built torches, then lanterns, then streetlights. Finally, we covered entire cities with artificial suns. Today, astronauts aboard spacecraft can look down upon Earth and watch our brightest cities shining through the night. Human civilization has become visible from space. We have conquered darkness more successfully than any generation before us. And still, millions of people sleep with a light nearby. Still, we hesitate before entering unfamiliar dark places. Still, shadows occasionally make our hearts race. Because technology changes much faster than evolution does. Electricity is young. Your brain is ancient. The fearful child who slept beside a fire still lives quietly within you. Every instinct that protected your ancestors remains present inside your nervous system today. Darkness has changed. You have not changed nearly as much as you imagine. Perhaps that is why darkness feels strangely beautiful as well. It reminds us that we are still animals living inside remarkable machines shaped by ancient worlds. The stars above you are older than humanity itself. Moonlight illuminated the faces of your ancestors long before the first cities were built. They feared what waited beyond the firelight, and because they feared wisely, you are here. Your fear was never your enemy, it was your inheritance. So tonight, when you switch off the lights and glance once more into the darkness, remember what your brain is trying to do. It is protecting someone who no longer exists, a human being sleeping beside a fading fire hundreds of thousands of years ago. And perhaps the strangest part of all is this. The darkness was never watching you. Your ancient brain was watching the darkness. There is one final mystery hiding inside your fear of the dark. It begins before you are even born. Human babies arrive in the world almost completely helpless. For years we depend upon other people for survival. No human infant survives alone. And for most of human history, separation from others at night was extraordinarily dangerous. Darkness did not simply mean predators. It meant isolation. It meant vulnerability. It meant being alone when human beings were never meant to be alone. Perhaps that is why darkness feels different when someone else is beside us. The same room becomes less frightening. The same sound becomes less threatening. Nothing outside has changed. Only one thing has. You are no longer alone. Researchers have repeatedly found that social connection changes how we experience fear and stress. Human beings regulate one another's emotions in remarkable ways. A familiar voice can calm an anxious mind. A hand held tightly can lower stress responses throughout the body. Safety has always been something we shared. For hundreds of thousands of years we survived together. Around ancient fires, stories were told beneath the stars. Families slept side by side. Communities protected one another through the longest nights. The darkness outside remained exactly the same, but together it became easier to face. That ancient truth remains with us today. We leave lights on for our children. We call friends when we feel afraid. We reach for comfort without even realizing why. Your brain remembers what your conscious mind has forgotten. It remembers that survival was never a solitary achievement. Have you ever wondered why moonlight can feel peaceful on one night and terrifying on another? The answer has very little to do with the moon itself. Fear is not merely something that exists around you. It exists within you. The darkness does not decide whether it is beautiful or frightening. Your brain does. And sometimes, your brain changes its mind. Artists have found inspiration within the night. Scientists have stared into the dark skies searching for answers. Ancient navigators crossed oceans guided only by distant stars. Darkness has frightened humanity. But it has also invited us to wonder. Without darkness, there would be no campfire stories, no constellations, no dreams of distant worlds waiting beyond our own. Perhaps we fear the dark because it reminds us of what we cannot know. And perhaps we love it for exactly the same reason. Carl Sagan once wrote that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. That journey began long ago beside small fires burning beneath enormous skies. Those ancient humans feared the darkness beyond the flames, yet they continued looking into it. Eventually they discovered new lands. They discovered science. And they discovered themselves. The darkness did not stop humanity from moving forward. It taught us why we needed one another. It taught us to ask questions. And it taught us that curiosity can exist beside fear. So the next time darkness makes your heart beat a little faster, do not be embarrassed by it. That fear is older than language, older than civilization, older than history itself. It is a message carried across hundreds of thousands of years by every human being who survived long enough for you to exist. The dark is not your weakness. It is evidence that your ancestors paid attention. And perhaps the most beautiful truth of all is this. Humanity never defeated the darkness. We simply learned how to carry our light into it.